Hello, my fit and stylish friends. I am back with an updated video about my acupuncture experience. So about 6 months ago, I posted a video about starting to go to acupuncture for the first time, which I'll link that video below. And I told you guys that I would do an update on it. So this is what this video is. I've consistently been going for 6 months. So what's consistent? When I very first started, it was probably a little bit more consecutive. So once every week or once every 2 weeks. And that was I didn't really address a lot of it in the first video because I kind of wanted to just see the effects, and I didn't, sometimes when you share certain things, you get a lot of feedback that maybe you didn't ask for. So I wanted to just get the experience first and keep what I was going through kind of to myself. So about 6 months ago, it was probably about 9 months ago, I started to have really intense hip pain. And I'm a group fitness instructor, I'm a personal trainer, I work out on my own as well. So my body is every day pretty heavily physically active. So I kind of ignored it for a little bit, as probably a lot of fitness professionals do, because we're busy taking care of everybody else. And I would notice it most. I wouldn't notice it when I was teaching or right after I finished teaching. I would notice it when I was at home, or I had been sitting in the car for a long time. Maybe I was at home on the couch, or I was in the car driving for a long time, and then I would get up to stand up, I would notice it. And it got to the point where when I would stand up, I would have to catch myself, because there would be times where I would almost fall. So it was pretty bad, and I was pretty concerned that I had torn something. And I don't like going to the doctor. I'm not a good patient. Plus, I think I'm one of those people who has that mindset, like I don't necessarily want to find out if something's really wrong. So I kind of just kept pushing through it. But then when it got to that point, it was noticeable to other people too, which was embarrassing, because I don't want to be that person who is weak. But it got to the point where I had to address it. So I chose to do the acupuncture first, and the first few sessions I could definitely tell, sometimes it would be a little bit more tender afterwards, and everybody's acupuncture experience is different, and every acupuncturist is different, but I completely trust my acupuncturist, and she encouraged me at one point to go get it checked out, but I chose not to. So fast forward several months of continuing to work on the hip pain, it progressively got better with each visit. Like I said, the first few, it was a little tender afterwards, but after the first few months, the pain just started to gradually subside. I wasn't necessarily teaching less. I wasn't doing really anything different other than to do probably a little bit more of a recovery just during my own workouts, and taking maybe a little bit more time off during the week when I could. If I elected to do a workout, I might skip it if I was teaching a lot that week. So that was 6 months ago when I started all of that. I also had some shoulder pain from an injury that I had several years ago doing some strength training, and it just gets super tight. So that was the other reason I was going. But fast forward now, so to the update, the pain in my hip is completely gone. Again, disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional. This was my personal experience. This is how I chose to deal with the pain that I was experiencing. And always, consult your physician and all those things. But I have not had any pain, no weakness, no pain after I've been sitting. So I definitely attribute it to that, because I haven't changed anything else. I've just been a little bit extra conscious about my own self-care, but not to the point that it would make that big of a difference. So, am I still going to acupuncture? Yes. What am I going for? I am going for now just kind of like a tune-up, and I don't go as frequently. I go maybe about once a month. If you've been following me for a while, I've talked about my struggle with hormonal migraines, which is something that I only started getting in my 30s. Never had it before, and then it's just like one day I started getting these migraines right before or right at the end of every period, so every month. And when I first got them, they were like, I gotta go to bed, I gotta lay down. But then as my business picked up, I didn't really have that. I didn't want to take that time off, so lots of times I would push through the migraines, which ended up at the end of the day made them way worse. I mean, it would be the equivalent of like a hangover, but just so intense and painful. So I decided to start trying to treat the hormonal migraines with that, and we also started that about 6 months ago too, but because that's more of like an ongoing thing, we still do that month to month. So that has subsided as well. Do I still get a little bit of a headache? Yes, but they're nowhere near what they were. They were just completely debilitating. So recently we went on vacation and I had to reschedule my acupuncture appointment. I chose to reschedule my acupuncture appointment, and I knew better, but I did, and actually ended up having the hormonal migraine so bad while we were on vacation. So I can tell the difference when I am getting the treatment of the acupuncture and when I'm not for the hormonal migraine. Another thing I use with that is essential oils. So hand in hand together, the difference has been night and day. Someone asked how long it takes to get used to the needle sticking. It doesn't hurt. That was something that I was a little anxious about, and I still get a little anxious about right before certain ones. So if it's from what my acupuncturist has told me, if it's a spot or an area that is sensitive to what she's treating, so for me, if she's treating a zone or a point that is for anxiety, and I've been really stressed out and have had a lot of anxiety going on, it really like stings more than, it's not a pinching or a poking, it's a stinging, and that's once she puts it in, and from what I understand, that's releasing the oxygen to that zone and that area to kind of get the blood flow going. So it just depends. Like I knew when I was doing the hip ones, they were kind of a little zingy because I was having so much inflammation and so much pain. So it really depends, and I don't ever know. So it's kind of like a surprise. But if you find an acupuncturist that you trust, then you know that it's a good thing when you feel that zing and the that change. I think in my first video I mentioned when she did my shoulder, you can feel the stress point kind of unknot, which is really strange. So it's been an amazing experience. I wish I had done this way sooner, and it's just become part of my health care routine, honestly, because I don't know what I would have done if I had chosen something else. And again, this is just for me. If I had chosen to go to the doctor, or if I had ended up getting, a scan or something like that, I think of all the, for me, that would have been kind of a waste of a resource, because for me, it's always better to err on the side of something that's more holistic first, just depending on the severity of it and things like that, and then work my way up from there. So, if anybody has any other questions about it, I would love to answer them. But the main thing is just do your research if you're thinking about acupuncture, and it treats so many things, or it can help treat so many things. So, I mean, like I told you, I've been using it for anxiety, migraines, the joint pain. So, just a myriad of things. Do your research, look for someone in your area that is highly qualified and certified through the proper channels, and ask questions, ask lots of questions. So my goal is to eventually get my acupuncturist on here to do a little interview with her. She's super busy. But to me, I think it's amazing that there are these people who are trained in acupuncture, how to do it correctly, and just the effects that it has on your body. And it's something that is completely natural, which to me, you really can't get better than that. So I try to keep this short and sweet, but if you have questions, definitely feel free to drop them below, and I'm happy to answer them to the best of my ability. I hope you all have a great day. See you later.